we had, I thought we started out fast, which was good. Then there was a little bit of a lull, and then, we picked it up a little bit at the end. And it's good, it's good that both sides, it's good for the offense that, they responded to a little bit of a slow start while we were fast, and that's how games are going to ebb and flow. The scrimmage before was kind of reversed a little bit. I thought our tackling was better than the first scrimmage. Still not where it needs to be, but for preseason and only being the second time tackling since spring, it wasn't bad. I like the effort.
The linebacker, I know you had some questions as far as the effort is concerned. What do you see from the group so far this
game? I think there's a lot of potential there. We just finished whatever it was, day 2 of class. So you see the freshmen spinning a little bit now that they've got class on top of football and a little bit of sort of starting to get into the game planning routine. There were a few more mental busts today than they've been having the last couple times. So we'll need to get that cleaned up. But you'd expect that from a true freshman. We've talked about it before. The analogy: if you've got a cup, all through summer, the only thing getting poured in their cup was football. So then they could focus on that. Now you're pouring school in, and now they've got to find out where their classes are. And now it's game plan. And now things are starting to overflow, and you got to make sure you don't lose everything. But that's part of it. And we've got to do a good job as a coaching staff to make sure not to overload it.
Do you feel like it's corner depth, especially with some of those defensive talents?
Yeah, at corner we're probably a little bit on the thinner side there, but the nice thing is that we've got guys that we're really confident in, with Sed and with Carrington and with Quandre out there. You've got guys that have played. We brought in Jalen when he was a freshman, to play corner. So he's a guy that can play a lot of different positions. Really had one of the better camps probably of anybody on defense. So I've been proud of Jalen. Need him to continue to make that push. But we'll make do. Everybody's a little bit thin somewhere. If you're not, that's pretty good.
Anything new to report on the pass rush?
Nothing new. Again, I've been pleasantly pleased with Jordan Wright. I think he's ready to take the next step, and we're going to need him to as a rusher. He's really, really focused hard on that. But it can't be just one guy. It can't be 2 guys. With Pascal, it's got to be a whole bunch of guys that get it, and they've got to rush as a group, and especially when it's just 4-man rush. And you play 4-man rush in coverage, they've got to understand what the guy next to him is doing, and they don't just service themselves; they have to service that entire group. And we're getting better, but as we get closer to game time, we've got to get narrowed down to who those 4 guys are, those primary 4 and nickel, so they can get a lot of reps together. So far, we've just been repping a lot of different combos and try to figure out who's the best. But we'll start over these next 2 weeks really starting to tighten who that group's going to be.
What can you tell us about the Quez's availability? It seems like he's been hampered in practice, and going forward with him, how fast when he's able to play, be able to kind of get in?
I think he'll be pretty quick. He's an extremely smart football player. Obviously a young man that's played in the SEC for 3 years, so football moves at a little bit slower pace for him. You can see it where right now for the freshman, everything's warp speed. Things are slower for him. Things are slower for a guy like DeAndre Swift. So, coming off an injury, those guys tend to, once they get back healthy, the game speed and the understanding of our playbook, I'm not seeing it being.
You think he'll be available game 1?
I think there's an opportunity for that.
Can you tell me about this sign, the Shawnee sign, what that means to this group, and is it a constant reminder of being right there in the FCO?
What an unbelievable tribute, to walk out today and to see that, and to know every time we walk into the stadium, whether it be for a scrimmage, a practice, a game, and you look at really what the model of what being a Kentucky football player, coach, alumni, you name it, he was all of that. And I think it's a great reminder, not just for the people that are in this program that were around him and knew Coach Larman, but for those that didn't. And, you know, Coach always said, you know, we talked about he's the great American, but he's really sort of the great Kentuckian. And everybody gets to see it when they come to Kroger Fieldhouse. And that's really, really moving for us. Like it was an emotional tribute.
Brad, in listening to you speak as a coach, it seems like you always need more time to prepare. That there's always something to work on. You got 2 weeks. Are you guys going to be ready? Has there ever been a time when you felt like you were ready to go?
No, I don't think you ever feel like you're truly ready. I mean, all the way up until kickoff. I mean, you try to get as many hours in a week, and then once you get into game week, I mean, you think about it, all you have is 7 days. At least here we have 2 weeks, you know, to try to get everything ironed out. Then you get into game prep, and you have 7 days before the next kickoff. You never feel truly ready, but the deal is to get as close as you can, and then you got to get to a point where you just cut them loose. You got to make sure that the guys feel comfortable, they feel like they can play fast. If we have to trim the game plan, then we trim the game plan. If they feel comfortable with it and we can increase it, we increase it. But that's where that's when you got to be a judge as a coach to see, all right, what can they retain and how can we play the fastest. It's not, again, we've talked about it. It's not about how much coaches know. It's about how much they know and how much they trust what they know.
2 more, guys.
JJ has to get back to health first and foremost, but whenever he does get back to a small room and handle the majority of the snaps, do you kind of view Jordan Redsmith as a jack, or could he play the number of
No, Jordan can play either. Obviously, we're going to be really judicious, you know, with JJ bringing him back. And the nice thing about Jordan, he's played both for his entire career. So, you know, I'd anticipate at some point during the season that those 2 guys are on the field together. But at the same time, it's nice when you talk about like having a starting pitching unit, right? And you can rotate those 2 and they come in fresh. So we've definitely got options. You know, we can play medium, you know, with D-Route out there at the field. And so we can do some different things.
Hey, Coach, with Kroger Field,
I'm seeing a guy that he's ready to prove himself. And he knows that last year wasn't representative of what he's been in the past. And he's come back with a purpose. You know, we've talked about his body's in much better shape right now. He understands that he's a huge part and a huge factor for this team. And I'm going to put a lot on him out there to the field. And we need him to come through big time because we've talked about it. You know, it's not one of our deeper areas. But if he plays the way I think he can, then we don't need to be. Thank you.